Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sports Card Madness, sponsored by DraftKings Pick 6. This is LZ. I'm here with Nick, and today we have a special guest. We have Mike Gioseffi from Sports Cards Nonsense. He is a successful breaker, a podcast host. He built a Facebook group of 250,000 members.
Mutants.
Which is impressive. So we need to get into that and what that's all about. But he's also an OG Massachusetts guy, so we're going to get into that. And really, we just want to talk to Mike, just get his insights on breaking, new product, where there's still value in the hobby. We're going to get into all these and more. So Mike, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I'm excited. I told Nick I finally got to be on here. I'm pumped.
All right, we've got madness and nonsense, so it's going to be good.
The name ripoff. We can save the name ripoff for later. That's
all right. Yeah.
Nick sends me. He's like, by the way, I didn't rip off your name. I was like, I didn't think you did.
Great. Now you put it in his head, Nick.
Now it's in my head.
He thinks,
it's all. Yeah. Now he thinks so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
All right, Mike. So let's talk about this empire you built with Sports Cards Nonsense. Okay, like how did this originate, and how did it ramp up, and like what were you thinking back then?
Yeah, I mean, just a super quick version. 2020, I'd been breaking since 2016, on and off. 2018, full time. Stuff started to really snowball and really blew up 2018, 2019. And then in March of 2020, COVID. And it's, at this point, me and my wife are still living in an 800 square foot apartment. I had $500,000 worth of product in there. We had no kitchen table, hardly any furniture because I had stacks of cases. Because we're like, we're going to get a house. Breaking's going so good. COVID happens, and I was like, listen, I'm going to sell the business. Like, I don't know what else to do. The stuff had absolutely exploded. I was like, let's just sell it all. And I'll just retire and we'll chill and we'll live our happy Nashville life. That lasted for like 2 months. And I just started, it's the first time ever I started looking for card content. And I started seeing like Jeff Wilson, some of these other guys. And I was like, this is brutal. I can't, so I started going live on Facebook with like an intro from Larry Bird. Larry Bird's greatest hits. I would share my screen like an idiot. You could hear me clicking my keyboard. And I would just start ranting about card stuff. And then, I don't know, maybe 2 months later, we got a call from Chris Vernon. And he's like, hey, Bill, my boss Bill wants to talk to you. He kept talking. I was like, who is this Bill? He said, Simmons. I was like, holy crap.
Whoa.
And that was it. He's like, hey, I love cards. It's the hottest thing. We come do your podcast over here.
Sweet.
And, like, I wish there was more of a backstory. That was literally it.
I think you missed one part of it, though, that I read in an article somewhere. You jumped out of the shower to take the Bill Simmons call. Was that true?
So Simmons, I was in the shower. So Chris is like, hey, he's going to call you at this time, whatever. And Bill texts me in the meantime, hey, just want to make sure I have the right number. I was so amped up. I was like, I got to go for a run. Like, I got to just chill and kill some time. Go for a run, come home. I'm in my shower. And he calls, and I was like, oh, crap. And I remembered the time difference. He's on the West Coast. I was expecting him to be East Coast. So he calls me early, and I was like, shoot. So I just shut the water off, took the phone call in there.
There we go.
Smart play. Smart play.
There we go. Did you shoot your shot when you talked to Bill? Like, did he make you an offer and you kind of counter? Did you just like accept whatever he gave you?
No, he was very much just like, hey, like he was super chill. Like, hey, what's your background? Yada, yada, yada. He started asking about like the money side. He's like, so, breaking, like, what is this? And I started explaining to him like, hey, I just sold the company, so I'm not in a rush to do anything. And he was shocked by the numbers. And granted, his collection is worth 8 figures. Who knows? A crazy, crazy collection. But he was like, there's that much money in cards these days. I was like, yeah, the market is absolutely insane right now. But it was basically just like, we want you over here. Like, we want you to come at the ringer. I was like, get done. Like, I didn't care if you paid us or not. I knew what that would mean everywhere else.
Yeah.
But he's like, we'll meet, he was doing the holiday thing because this was like late November. It ended up being like, I think February 1st was our first actual show. But, going through December, we kind of were in talks with him, the Spotify team, because that's who our contract is through. Just people like, hey, ideas for the show. What's the format? Here's how production works. Here's the pay. But the pay it's $52,000 a year. That's it. Like, there's no negotiating. Like, you can be on the ringer. We'll make you famous in this little pond. I was like, great, like, done. We do it again. We do it for free. We didn't care about that. So no negotiating.
Yeah. So you mentioned 2016 you were breaking. Like, where were you breaking? Like, what? Like, Whatnot wasn't around there. Obviously, Fanatics Live wasn't around. Like, what was it on? Was it just YouTube or Facebook Live? What was it?
YouTube a little bit, yeah. And back in the day, there was a site called Breakers TV. Certain rooms would be just selling singles. Like, through the chat, you'd bid. You'd have to privately pay. Like, somebody post their PayPal address, you'd pay it. But you could also stream breaks on there. And then Facebook Live. there ended up being a guy in my town here, Hendersonville, who was breaking and was like, "Hey, I noticed you were local. You looking to get involved? I need some help." I started just taking like a day or two off of construction to do that. I had a little painting and drywall business, and then after the first year, I was like, "Dude, I'm gonna be done with this soon. Like, we're gonna really throw some time into this." And we
Wow.
did. So it'd be like 4 days to one, 3 to 2, 3 to 2 breaking compared to construction. And then at the end, I was like, "Hey, we're kind of done." And I worked with him for about a year and a half full time, and then 2018 broke off on my own.
Good
Nice.
entrepreneurship lessons here
Yeah.
for the audience. I mean, if you're worried about like a lot of people worry about taking the leap when they're at a job, you get a job and healthcare and all that stuff. What Mike just described, he had something that sustained his family. Then he
Mhm.
had this other thing that turned you into a bigger thing on the side. And then eventually you just pivot to the bigger thing,
For the
right?
bigger
And you
thing.
did it in a
Yeah.
safe way. You didn't just like gamble the house on, diving in. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and I mean the other thing too with us, it was always cool. It was just me and my wife, no animals, no kids. It was just the two of us.
True.
She was still working a little bit, and we always just lived crazy simple, anyways. Like our rent was like $600 a month down here. Like we
Right.
didn't have car payments, so it was like I don't know. And my thought was always like, hey, I'm 28 years old. Like if I'm gonna screw around and make a mistake, let's do it now. We'll pay for it the
Definitely.
next couple of years, and who cares, you know?
Great
Mhm.
advice. Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely
Do
helps
it in
not
your
having
20s.
kids for sure.
Yeah, like I couldn't do that now, right? Like I got a
Right.
kid, I got
Mhm.
responsibilities, I got older parents I take care of. Now I
Right.
need to make X amount a month, but back then it
Yeah.
was like, hey, maybe this is the chance. And honestly, like you guys have seen this with how you do the podcast, by the way. You can see when you go into this space, oh, everybody's doing it. Yeah, there's like two or three of us who do it the right way and who take it seriously. Like you guys
Right.
have taken it seriously. You've gone out
Mhm.
and monetized it. You do it
Mhm.
correctly. That's
Yeah.
how the breaking thing was. Hey, there's a million people doing it.
Interesting.
Yeah, but nobody how many guys are sitting down like we were? And the guy I worked with, Brew, was like meticulous. Here's this product. Here's our margin. Here's our profit. Oh, but shipping was more because the weight's a little heavier on those 30 packages. Just crazy breakdown of spreadsheets. And I was like, this is just a business. This is literally just
Yeah.
if I put in X, I
Yeah.
get this back. And that's really what the convincing factor was.
So you got lucky too, and you had a mentor. You had a local mentor.
Yep. Yep. And
Yeah.
it's crazy too. Totally different styles. Like I would always call him the redneck and he would call me like the city kid,
Yeah.
but he was very good at what he did. Yep. And
Yeah.
personality clash that led to us splitting.
Mhm.
But it was, yeah, super. Without him, I don't ever get into the business.
Yeah, the
That's cool.
emphasis on numbers there is important too. When you just start
Yeah.
something, you have to think about this machine. I spend $1 and I make two. Can I spend 10 and make 20? Can I spend 100 and make, whatever? And then keep adding zeros. And it sounds like you were able to do that with him. It's
Yep.
interesting. So what about, I know you started, I think Jesse might have been a part of it too, but you were exploring your own live breaking app for a little while. And I
Yeah.
think you sunsetted it. I know you're also in real estate investing from time to time. Can you just
Mhm.
talk about like both of those ventures seem to be a big part of your life?
Yeah, one was good, one was bad. Yeah, so when I sold the business in August 2020, the real estate boom hadn't happened here. So we just went out with a real estate guy. I was like, "Hey, I want you to buy a few houses. Like, let's just buy a bunch of houses and flip them." And so we did that, and it was like, "Oh, this is cool. We're doubling our money."
Mm.
And then toward the middle of 2021, it was like, "Hey, values are getting crazy high. We're not going to be able to keep flipping these things." I was like, "But the rents are also ridiculous. Why don't we just buy a bunch of houses and rent them?" So we did. We just started buying houses, renting them, and just keeping everything for rental properties. Occasionally, I'll flip like a commercial place,
Yeah.
but in general, like our rule has been like 2 to 3 rentals a year, whether it be a house, a duplex, whatever. Let's just keep adding to the portfolio. The emphasis on that just being I'm never going to get rich with it, but real estate's the one thing here that seems to have never, at least in my lifetime, never really gone bad. We don't over leverage.
Mm.
I
Yep.
took some classes online and did a lot of like lectures and all that stuff to learn. And pretty quickly it was like a lot of people are full of crap. Like, 2% down and only do. And I was like,
Yeah.
man, if I have 6 months where there's no tenants, you're gonna burn. So our thing
Oh,
was always like
Yeah.
heavy down payments, and
mhm.
maybe we're not as cash flow positive. They make up all this stupid stuff. I just know all of our houses are worth a lot more than we owe, and the rent way outpays the mortgage. Like, so we're a
That's
little more
awesome.
conservative with it. Um, the Card Shop Live app we built, me and a team, Whatnot was paying us a ton of money every month to advertise on the podcast, and it was just becoming super scummy. And I was like, I can't keep sending people here, but the model's ridiculous. This live selling thing is nuts. Let's build our own app. So we raised over the course of a year like just shy of 1.2 million. Built out this live commerce app, fully. I mean, quite frankly, and I've told the people at Fanatics Live this, it had even more functionality than they did because we knew exactly what we wanted, built it all out, and within a few months of it opening, eBay Live hits the market. huge names go over there. Whatnot really ramps up. TikTok just started doing whatever they want,
Mhm.
and then Fanatics Live. So we were open almost 2 years, and it literally just went bankrupt. So I ended up having to pay off like all the credit cards, and a lot of that I took on personally. And of course, yeah, the investors lost the majority, if not all of their money. Literally just went bankrupt. And I will to this day stand by it was a great idea because I see everybody else do it. We just didn't raise enough money, and we
Mm.
were a year late.
How
I mean,
many breakers did you have on it?
I mean, 20 to 25 at times, but very
Okay.
part-time. It was
Yeah, it
never
was new.
like,
Yeah.
because you couldn't get like, hey, let's bring this big guy. And I'm in the same position. If a
Yeah.
new app called me now, hey, come break, no way. I'm doing huge numbers at Fanatics Live. I wouldn't do it. So I
Mhm.
get the resistance. We just thought we'd be able to drive a ton of traffic, and it was just competitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny in entrepreneurship you hear about the whatnots and stuff and you don't hear about the companies that didn't make it. But the good news for you is even though you say it doesn't make you rich, it'll make your kids rich. The real estate investing, right? That's the old saying.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So you've done well with real estate and your son will will benefit from it.
Yeah,
you
if he's
know?
not a
Yeah.
jerk, he gets it all. Yeah. If he's a turd, he can go find his own thing. Yeah.
How many properties do you have right now? How many are you managing?
That's a good question. So I don't do anything with him. We have a property management guy who's a real estate and property manager. He does everything.
Nice.
We still have 2 commercial properties left, although we're selling one off in like 2 weeks. So we'll be down to one, and then maybe 8 to 10 residential.
Shoot.
A couple of those are
Yeah.
duplexes. So
Nice.
yeah, it's not get rich money, and our thing too is since we don't need the cash from that, we just put everything else back into the mortgage. So if we make an extra 800 a month on rent. And it's crazy though. We get like the yearly summary. It's like, oh, this mortgage will be paid off 9 years early from doing nothing. So
That's great.
kind of
This is
been our
all
model.
very.
Love it.
The audience needs to listen to this. This is like very good behavior, Mike.
This is really good behavior, and the
very
audience was
impressed.
not expecting us to go down
Yeah,
this
yeah.
path. But this is really good advice, Mike. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Again, and not to harp on it, but there's so much noise of like, all debt is good, and all these rich people are these crazy rich people. Everything's about debt, like somewhat, but it's also like, yeah, I always am like, what if things go south and nobody pays their rent for 6 months straight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
Sleep is important too. Like a good night's sleep is also
Yeah,
important.
I don't want to be worrying about like we've had a place that's been open for 3 months now. We just finished renovating it. Haven't given it a second thought till now. Like it'll rent, and it's not the end of the world if it doesn't. So,
Mm.
yeah, we've always tried to be a little more conservative with it.
Nice. I might be reaching out to you for some advice then.
Yeah.
Love
Get
it.
out of Massachusetts. Best of-
That's serious. Seriously, man.
If I could, I
Yeah.
would, buddy. If I could,
No,
I
I'm
would.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, kids got to get a little older first. Before we
Yeah,
think
when they're in
about doing
college,
that.
I'm going to be in the Bahamas. Like, goodbye.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. All right. Give us some advice, Mike. Me and Nick have been like going down the rabbit hole a bit with breaking recently. Like, not
Yeah.
that like we're going to be breaking tomorrow, but I think him and I, like, our eyes have like widened a bit over the past like 2 months. Like, and I'm perfectly honest, like, we were like crapping on breaking like a while ago. We're like, this is crazy. This is like legalized gambling. This is ridiculous. Blah blah blah. But I will, to be frank, like we have our eyes are opening to it. So, how does one get started? Like today, if me and Nick wanted to start thinking about breaking, how do we get into it?
Yeah, I mean, for you guys, a little easier, right? Like you're not relying on any income from it. It's probably just one of those. I don't want to burn money, but I don't need to make money. I mean, number one, you have to find a way to get product. If you're going to break new product, you have to find a way. I know you guys are more vintage guys, so which is, by the way, totally thriving breaking market as well. Go buy a box of 1980 tops and do a player break, and sell the bird spot. Like you can do all sorts of different things. There's a couple just constants though, like have a community that will trust you enough to spend money. I mean, you guys have built that through your socials and through the podcast. Like that's number one.
Mhm.
Be good at it. Like cards are half the battle. You have to be good on camera. You can succeed to a degree without it, but I've never seen somebody without product. Because again, you're not going to walk in and get product. But what can you do? Well, I can get product at a higher price somewhere, but I can also just be entertaining. Like when guys come here, like we can be better on camera than other people are because we're not boring schmucks. We can do things like that make people want to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And just like easy business stuff. You take care of your customers. Hey, this $30 card got lost. It's a brand new customer. Did it get lost or did you just throw it away or misplace it? Whatever. Here's your $30. Here's $30 credit. Responding to people, customer service, huge thing that people don't do.
Mm-hmm.
And then honestly too, the other thing now is just finding the right fit. Like I'm fully convinced because we had offers when Card Shop Live shut down. We got offers from Whatnot, TikTok, and Live, and Fanatics Live, quite frankly, was the least appealing offer. So like, we're not cutting fees. We're not gonna give you crazy promotion, but there'll be some, and they are a sponsor through the end of this calendar year. Whatnot was, I mean, literally just no fees, nothing. We'll throw money at you, whatever. TikTok the same.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's like, yeah, I'm almost 40. My clientele are my age. They don't want to be on TikTok. Like when my room ends and they hear the screaming 20-year-old, they're out.
Mm.
It wasn't going to be a fit. TikTok's the same way. Explaining to a 47-year-old with 2 kids what TikTok is, I was like, it doesn't. So you gotta go where your audience can kind of organically survive.
So do you? So let me just. I want to play back what you just said, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but kind of what I heard was maybe Fanatics Live has a bit more of like a professional feel to it, or a bit
It's
more
older.
mature feel to it.
It's
An older
the
audience.
Is that
demographic
what
is
you're saying?
older. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
The audience is an older demographic. 1,000%. I mean, the average age of the TikTok breaker's got to be early 20s, and Whatnot mid 20s maybe. Again, I'm almost 40, and I play Bruce Springsteen every show. That is my thing. People organically finding my room on Whatnot are like, "What is this? I want to hear."
Yeah.
Travis Scott, who I just found out who that was at FanFest. Like they don't want, which is great. Do your thing.
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
go where the old people are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay.
Mike, I hope
Travis
you didn't
Scott-
find out about Travis Scott at FanFest.
I had no idea. I had heard the name twice. I had no idea who he was. Then I looked at
Oh,
him
my
one day
goodness.
live on the pod. He has like 18 billion downloads. I was like, okay,
He's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
he's terrible. Oh, please, terrible. Oh my god.
All
right. I want to dive into this breaking a little bit more. I got a flurry, not a flurry of questions. I got a few questions here. The thing I'm interested in as a whole, you don't need to get into your margins in particular, but like, let's say the average breaker doing average on Fanatics Live, all in, like, what do their margins look like? Like,
So
what do they
Fanatics
take? What do they take at the end of the day after, paying for product, paying
Sure.
for people and shipping and all of that? What are they left out of like every dollar, that they've spent? Like, what are
Yeah, I mean, let me just preface it too with this really quick. Fanatics Live also, the majority of people there have a direct account, so we're getting things cheaper than the majority of people I would say
Ooh.
on Whatnot or TikTok. Like I have a direct account with them. I'm not buying stuff
I
secondhand.
want to know how you get the direct account too after.
Literally had a friend with a huge audience who got it. Didn't even have anything to do with us, and then we made a pitch 2 years ago. Like, hey, we can do this. We have the podcast. It was very much though, like, what can you do for us? We know we can give product to anybody. And our thing was we're excellent at breaking. There's multiple of us. We have a huge audience and we have the podcast. Like we will promote the crap out of wherever we go, and we do it the right way.
So you had to pitch this to Tops or Panini or both or
Tops. Yeah, Panini doesn't really do direct. At least they never did direct with us. We always got Panini product through secondhand distributors, Peach State, GTS, names like that.
Interesting.
Okay.
Sorry for the interruption. Yeah.
No. I
What are
only
the
say that
margins?
too because I think on Fanatics Live, I think the margins are much better. Like our fees are 9% all in.
Just pausing the episode here quick to tell you about DraftKings' new app, Pick 6. If you think your team is going to score more than 100 points, or your favorite point guard is going to score more than 4 3-pointers, this is how it works. You actually pick 2 to 6 players of the same sport, and you choose if they will have more or less of a stat. Points, assists, rebounds, whatever. You lock them in, you compete against other opponents for a shot at big cash prizes. If you download the new DraftKings Pick 6 app now, you can actually use code MADNESS6. That will allow you to play $5 and actually get $50 in credits guaranteed. Now back to the show.
Shipping is paid for by the customer. And so on average, I would say at least, I mean, on a bad month, 20 to 25%. And on a good month, like we had Cosmic and Sterling and Update the same month, we're probably closer to 40%.
Interesting.
Jeez. Okay.
So that's a very good business margin.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean,
Especially,
the only reason I brought up those, like Cosmic cost us adjusted price after we rebought for a higher price was $267 a box. Those are like doing $475 a box. Sterling was like $280. We're doing those at $550. That month in particular, everything really jumped.
Wow.
So
have the margins changed? Like in 2020, were the margins the same, or is it no?
we used to absolutely draft used to cost us $900 a case, and it would snap fill at $3,500.
Woo! So like
I mean-
75% margin or 80% margin or whatever the hell.
No, you're talking 350%. I'm paying $1,000. I'm selling it for $3,500. I'm
Oh,
selling it.
Yeah.
okay.
And
Yeah.
I'm selling it on Facebook, so there's no fees. Oh, we used to, yeah. You couldn't get it in huge bulk quantity like you did now, but we get 30, 40, 50 cases.
But still, a 40% margin is a stupid good business. I can see why a lot of people break now. This is fascinating.
Yeah, and again, like for me, I don't have a shop. I break here at the house. Now, Eddie, the guy who the other breaker under Sports Cards Nonsense, him and his guy are full time. They have a shop in San Jose. So yeah, they probably have $10,000 a month in overhead, added overhead for that
Oh,
reason.
right, because you'll have like either a shop or maybe a warehouse or something. Like you see some of the people have like an office, right?
A whole,
like something
right.
like
So
that.
there can be extra for me. I literally just do it in this room. That's
Now, did you team up with Eddie? One reason why I'm thinking is maybe time difference too. Like he's in a different time zone. I think, does that benefit you?
It does. At the time, though, he bought Geo Breaks was the name of my company. He bought that in 2020. And then by the end of 2022, it was like, dude, and I stayed on for 20%. We worked out a price. Then he was like, hey, let's do 80-20. Because I wanted a heavy cash payout, but I wanted some involvement. By the end of 2022, though, he was like, dude, I'm not getting the value of the business was the accounts. Hey, Mike got 100 cases of draft last year. He's getting 100 this year. Well, Fanatics stepped in and bought it. So I was like, dude, you may not get anything next year. I don't know if Peach State will have allocation. If they don't, you don't. Then people came to me privately and said, hey, what about a breaking account? Like, you get back in. I was like, I would only do it if Eddie's coming on because I can't do. I'm busy with the podcast. I'm busy with my other stuff. We're trying to start the family. But if Eddie will come back on, so I just went back to him and said, hey, if you're cool with it, I know you're struggling with product. I'll give you this account. Like, come on with me, 50-50. And so we did. We split everything 50-50 now.
Nice.
Everything breaking related.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody joins like Filth Bomb or Pull Wax or whatever, you name a big breaking company, when they bring somebody on board, are they paid a salary? Are they paid hourly? Are they paid like commissions on how much they sell? How does that work usually?
So I'm close with Mojo and a couple other bigger ones like that. They have almost all done the exact same thing. It's X amount guaranteed, let's say it's $1,000 a week. I'm making that up.
Mm-hmm.
It's either that or the percentage you sell. And they have almost always told me the same thing. We've never given them 1,000. The other thing's always higher.
Oh,
but they always give you that's kind of become the standard. You will make a minimum of this, but if your percentage is higher, you get the percentage.
Wow. So it really
motivates
like
them to be more charismatic and, get out there. And
this is a classic sales job. That's fascinating. So
exactly.
You're getting commission on whatever you sell the spots for at the end of the day. That's your
whether
that's your number.
Whether they do profit or a small percentage of gross revenue, I don't know, but it's always a percentage or here's your baseline.
All right. One last dumb question before I kick it back to LZ. What is the Breaker's Delight? Is that like creme brulee, like a dessert, or like what's a Breaker's Delight? I keep hearing this everywhere.
Oh, dude, literally. Hang on.
I told you it's a dumb question.
No, it's not. It's literally just a different SKU. You have Hobby, you have Jumbo. This used to just always just be called HTA, Home Team Advantage. Started in like 2018 Bowman Chrome. There's just there's one pack, couple autos, couple numbered cards. That's it.
So wait, there's an extra pack in this box that has like a couple of cards in it.
Nope.
That's what, no?
So a Hobby box, this is Topps Chrome update. Okay. A Hobby box has 20 packs. A Jumbo box has 12 packs, I think, but they're jumbo, a ton of cards. This box literally has one pack in a box, 2 autos, 8 numbered cards and refractors.
Oh, okay.
It's a Breaker's Delight because there's no base to sort and it takes us 15 minutes to rip it. If you literally change the name of that product, though, if that just came out as HTA like it always was, great. No one cares. But you put Breakers in the title and everybody hates it.
So they like it because it gets broken faster? Like, I'm going to join a Breaker's Delight. It's going to be over in 15 minutes and it's super fast.
You're getting more autos. There's 2 here as opposed to 1 in Hobby. You're getting a lot of color. It happens super quick. It's a 10-box case. The rip takes 15 minutes. Hobby takes 45. And as a breaker, hardly any sorting time, shipping, nothing.
Right.
But again,
so you love it
breaker
as a breaker, but you said that people hate it. So the consumer hates it? Or what do you mean by that?
Yep. So consumers who break it, my audience loves it. Oh, Breakers Delight.
They love it. Okay.
There's more. Your odds are even better on the big hits. Always better in Breakers Delight. Great. Outside people though hate it. Like if you watch YouTube, it's Breakers Delight. Right. It's literally because it has the word breakers in it. That's the only reason people don't like it. If you took that word out of it, you'd be fine.
Creme brulee delight.
Anything delight. But instead it's like, these are for breakers. These boxes are loaded. These are all influencer boxes. This is where all the patch autos are.
You want to know what I thought, Mike, before I asked that? What I thought a Breaker's Delight was it was a free box for the breaker. Like just like a thank you, like a poker chip. Like here you go. You do so much business. Here's your free Breaker's Delight box. And I'm somewhat educated in the hobby. And that's what I literally thought until now.
Yeah, the other tough thing is too, these are allocated way more heavily toward breakers as opposed to shops. LCSs get much less of this, but like
Yeah.
my LCS, some of them around here got more hobby boxes than I did. I'll be honest, if I'm an LCS, I want hobby cases. These are 450 a box. I don't know how many people are coming in off the cuff to buy one of those.
Mm.
And you can't sell them by the pack. There's only one pack. I get the reasoning behind it. I don't like the move overall. Again, you're kind of isolating and carving out like, hey, these are for breakers, these are for shops. It creates that division and kind of that perceived, hey, breakers are getting better treatment.
Interesting.
All right, so me and Nick want to start this tomorrow, or an audience member wants to start this tomorrow. How long is it going to take for us to get allocation?
At this point, there's no. So the answer used to be, again, you go to Southern, Peach State, or GTS, the three main distributors, and they will tell you day one, hey, you have to spend $80,000 in dead product to buy all this old crap, and it leads to one case of everything going forward. If you spend 120, it was always a mathematical formula. Spend X amount on undesirable product to start building. Now you literally have to get an account with Tops, and I don't know how you do. How do you do that? You make a huge name for yourself somewhere. Be good at what you do. Like you got, hey, we have an audience. We have DraftKings. You bring all that to the table. Okay, maybe they just say, yeah, this is a company we want to work with. They've got a microphone. They'll draw business in. I think it helps if you say, hey, we're willing to go on Fanatics Live. Like if a new breaker wanted to do that. But a new breaker's also probably not getting on live. You have to have a record somewhere. Like they want to see it. Like I will say they actually vetted us pretty well. The guy I spoke to was literally going back through and asking questions. And I started thinking, I was like, oh, he specifically watched some stuff from XYZ months ago. So I was like, I kind of like that. It, for me, it makes it a little bit safer. But yeah, if you're brand new, I think you probably have to start on an Instagram, a YouTube, a Facebook, and just kind of build a reputation.
Like
So you're very embedded with Fanatics, like many
Yep.
of us are, because they own they own the market now, right? You're on Fanatics Live, you're getting all your product from them. Do you feel pressure from them to act a certain way, talk about them a certain way? And you could say yes. I mean,
Sure.
they're buttering your bread. Like,
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely certain times. I will say this too. Fanatics listens. I don't know who, but we get specifically, hey, at X minute mark, I mean, I'm to the minute of this dated podcast, we noticed XYZ. This criticism was pretty fair.
really?
And it's 50-50. Hey, we actually thought that criticism was pretty fair. Here's the person who's in charge of that department or this person. Maybe they could at least walk you through the mindset. The first time we got one of those, I was like, man, I went on a rail about something. I don't remember what. And they reached right out, and I was like, oh, there was man, some people say it's just because I'm paid. I'm saying this. There was never a, hey, stop it. Hey, take it easy. It was just, hey, if you want the backstory or why that happened, let us know. The other thing is right off the bat, David Liner, the president of Topps, came on, and that was right when 2022 Topps Finest had just come out, and it was a train wreck. Missing hits, and the surfaces sucked. Those sound like minor things, but they're not. Like, if you're buying that product, you're spending money.
Sure.
He came right on. I was like, hey, are you aware of, like, again, I don't know, you're the president, but are you aware, like, there's base cards, base Julio rookies are all scratched. Owned it up, like, immediately. Yep, total screw up, can't happen again. We're doing XYZ to help. We worked with Panini for years, and I could never get a response on anything ever. And they were paying us a lot of money every month. Fanatics right off the bat owned it. Now, there's other times, yeah, they will say, hey, this story's coming up. We would like this to be the narrative because this is really what's going on. Can you help us with that?
Mm-hmm.
If it's on point for us, we will. If it's not, we won't. The Ruben interview. Hey, here's a few things he's not going to speak about. Don't waste your time. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
Now, some people say, hey, you're
that.
compromising your journalistic integrity. Maybe, but I also want these people back. Them not speaking to us at all means we'll never get any answers.
Yeah.
But what did come out on that was like that whole thing where it was like, hey, he's selling off all this stock in the company. He came on and was literally in first place ever. He's like, that never happened, by the way. He's like, just so we're clear, never happened. I was like, oh, cool. And again, I know we weren't supposed to talk about a ton of it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I'd rather have a good relationship if I gotta occasionally go easy on them. Yes, like to be totally honest, of course that happens.
Yeah, I would say to anybody who maybe was like talking smack about the way you guys handled that, think about your local reporters and how they treat the head coach of the NFL team in the city they're in, right? Yeah, there's a fine dance that you have to do. Otherwise, you're not going to get the story. You're just not going to get it.
Yeah, and again, I just think we do more justice because when there is a big issue, like when there was an issue with a guy scamming on Fanatics Live, they came right to us with it. Like, hey, go at it. We're totally out of control. Like, we need you to help. Great. Awesome. But for us, it's never been, hey, we can't talk about this. I'm sure that has happened, but I don't remember the last time it did. So,
All right, interesting. Let's forward think a little bit, Mike. So, it's funny. I almost
conspiracy voice, Elsie. You see the change here? Now we're going. Now we're going. I can tell he's thinking.
Yeah.
So it's funny. You get these product drops like Mercury that seem like a surprise to a bystander like me, but you probably know they're coming ahead of time. Do you know what's coming out in the next 12 months? And if you do, what are you most excited about?
So I can give you our actual calendar. As of right now, I've been solicited up through December 12th is my last solicitation. That's definitive baseball. We're generally 15 to 40 days out. I mean, I know Bowman's Best is coming at the end of December, early January. I haven't seen a price, a sale sheet, anything.
That's actually a short window. I thought it'd be longer than
I thought it'd be like 6 months. That's crazy.
I mean, again, I knew Cosmic Basketball was coming out this year. 6 months ago. It dropped today. I didn't know until yesterday when I got the email. So we know what's coming because every year everything kind of is the same, but I don't know when it's coming. Mercury was maybe a 30, 45-day window.
Interesting.
So that's when we start to get specifics. Hey, here's your allocation. Here's your cost. Here's the sales sheet.
So is that the information they give you? Like, because I'm thinking as a breaker, I want to know as much as I can about this product because when I start ripping it, I want to be able to tell you these are the parallels. These are the short number. Do they give you all that information? Or
we have like an ordering portal. So it's like, hey, here's you got, so let's just say triple threads is coming out next. You're allocated up to 10 cases. Take 0, take 10, whatever you want. Here's the box breakdown per case, and here's the amount of cases you've been allocated. Here's the cost. And then separately from that, we'll hear from Topps directly of, hey, here's sepia autos are 1 in every 16. Pink refractors, 1 every 20 bucks. We get that separate.
Like odds. Yeah, odds and checklists.
Odds and checklists, yeah, separate.
Okay. All right. What are some good values to be had in breaking right now?
Man, it's tough. So for years, I've always said basketball. The basketball football thing for me didn't start this year. They've been tough for years. Like Flawless is a perfect example of an unbelievably difficult product to come out ahead on. There's 10 cards, and I'm selling 32 teams. Best case scenario, 22 guys get nothing. Now, if people double up, 23, 24, 25, and then of those, one's an Adam Vinatieri jersey. I just paid $800 for the Colts chasing. I think it's true, though. And this year it's even worse. Hey, you're not getting Stroud autos at all. He doesn't have autos in the product. Like that product came out this last week. That's brutal. NT, basketball and football, absolutely brutal. Anything that is no base is super difficult when you're talking just strict ROI. As opposed to the product that came out 2 weeks ago, Topps Chrome Update with the Pro Debut patches.
Yep.
People are, in general, just stupid and listen to what they hear. Oh, everybody's chasing debut patches. Yeah, Topps Chrome Update has like the most unbelievable rookie class of any product ever in the hobby. There's never been a class like 2024. There just hasn't. These guys, Adley, Gunnar, and Corbin were great last year. They are not top 5 selling this year. Wouldn't be close to it. And so a product like that, okay, say you buy the Pirates in a hobby case, our price was $185. You hit no Skeens auto. No, but you got 4 base cards, 3 debut rookies, whatever. You can still, on a case where you got nothing, grade your way out and you're probably 60% of your money back. You happen to hit something a little bit better than that, you're doing well. Doesn't mean everybody does it. The odds are always against everybody and everything you break. Anybody who tells you different is a liar. Statistically, everybody's a loser. But if you go base heavy products, Topps finest baseball. Again, you don't have to have a hit. You're getting a ton of stuff, the parallels, the rookies, the refractors. You at least have different outs for grading, for a rookie to pop. So that's generally what we've stuck to very heavily is base heavy products with a good rookie class.
Okay. Base with a good rookie class. All right.
It's funny the term grading out was interesting. So basically what you're saying there is if you get a bunch of if you get mid cards, maybe you can like gem 1 or get a 9 or something and get your value back.
Yeah, like this Ellie, if you can see it. This is a Prism Refractor, Ellie De La Cruz rookie from Chrome Update. It's probably like a $10 to $12 card raw, but if it comes back at 10, it's $40. Your grading was 15. Cool. Grade 9 of them. You're going to get a few 9s and break totally even. You're going to get a bunch of 10s. So again, you can it's a numbers game.
Okay. Interesting. So, Mike, you're a little bit like me. We both call out BS, and we're both pretty much an open book with hobby stuff. I actually want to spin it a little bit. What do you like most about the hobby right now?
That's interesting. I mean, like for me, it's been a great time to collect again. Like right now, I'm getting my not grails, but big PC cards cheaper than I have the last 3 years. You know, Brady's and Birds and Bill Russell stuff is totally. I like that fact. I love the card shows are crushing again, despite every YouTube video I see that says they suck. I don't know. I've long contended YouTube people don't exist in the real world. Card shows are awesome right now.
It does feel like attendance is up across the board on card shows. We've had Front Row on here. We've worked with the National. We obviously have our local shows. I definitely have not seen a traffic dip anecdotally for sure. It's not like I'm ticking people on a counter, but
It's busy.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, they are busy. Like, which I think is awesome. I think card
Yeah,
shows
it
are
is.
an awesome pulse to the hobby because in 2020, 21, they were out of control. They're not there, but they're good. I'm getting optimistic about what we'll start to see next year. Topps takes over the football license in October. I'm hoping we're almost at the end of these non-licensed football products. It'd be nice to have. That's the worst thing in the hobby right now for basketball, football. You have products that have autos or products that have licenses. You don't have both.
oh,
That's
it's
brutal.
so annoying. Like, and
know.
of course, Wemby comes out right now, and it's
Right.
like you got to choose between. Well, what me and LZ are going to do is take a base prism and get it autographed at a game. That's like our whatever, but that's not obviously not going to be as valuable as a superfractor auto, you
Sure.
know. But the superfractor is unlicensed, and then to even convolute it more, in whatever T minus 15 months, they'll have the basketball license, and then you'll have Wemby's first licensed Spurs auto, and it's there'll be another chase, and so there's like three different things. Like if you're a Wemby collector and you want to collect the run, like Bill Russell, you get 61, 57, and you're done.
Yep.
It's like Wemby.
Yep.
It's like what do you
Yeah.
even? Where do you even begin? You know?
Yeah, it's tough. And like even football, CJ Stroud,
Oh,
arguably the greatest rookie season of all time for a quarterback.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels struggled lately, but like Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, unbelievable this year.
Mhm.
And I don't get autos. So that's tough. So I'm looking forward to that being united. But yeah, I also think baseball's in a really good spot. Again, stuff is expensive. This year, though, compared to last year, it's about the same. And this year's class is exponentially better. I've been pleasantly surprised with the majority of baseball releases. Bowman Draft, total opposite. Horrible release price. We'll go very light on it. But other than that, the majority this year I feel like have been fairly competitive price compared to the last couple of years. And there's bigger chases now.
Okay. Let's go back to your show for a bit. We haven't really talked about Jesse too much, your co-host on the show. I think you guys have great chemistry. And I'm wondering from your side, like, why do you think you guys work well together? Like, what's one of Jesse's qualities that you think really stands out and allows you guys to work well as a team?
He's patient. He puts up with my nonsense. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not a scheduled person. I'm just not. If I'll have a whole show prepped and something triggers me wrong, and I'm like, no, we're starting with this for 22 minutes. I don't care. He is very much more, hey, here's a segment, here's a guest, here's a topic. As annoying as that is, it probably gives you a better final product than it would if we were just one way or the other. Can't always be scheduled, but it can't also always just be
Right.
off the cuff like I want to go.
Yeah. Little yin and yang there.
Yep.
Yeah. Follow-up question to that, because I have been paying attention to your show lately. Does Jesse really hate Nick?
He got mad at me. He'll hear it today. We ended that because I was like, hey, I'm going on your boy's show. He said something the other day, right before we started. I was like, hey, the story with Nat Turner be on the board. I was like, well, Nick, I just saw this on Nick's. I didn't even heard about it.
Yeah.
Why don't we just have him on for 5 minutes? Like, literally just call him on the phone, 5 minutes. He's like, no. Because you know what Nick does? He does the same thing you do. He has his opinion, and he's going to present it as fact, and I'm going to disagree, and it's going to make me angry. And I thought,
It's gonna make him angry.
I've done that before. Yeah, that's fair. He goes, it's exactly what you do, and I can't stand it. I said, okay, good enough.
All
he
right, Nick.
likes-
So he does hate you.
So
He
to
does
be
hate
clear-
you.
No, he does like Nick. Though. He was very emphatic. You'll hear that today at the
Yeah.
end. He does like he just and he got worn out with the CT scan thing, which is
I've
whatever.
moved on to more provocative things anyway. But so I want to be clear about Jesse. I actually like Jesse a lot. Number
Yeah.
one. Number two,
Mm.
I think he is one of the funniest people I've ever interacted with. Great sense of humor, and an all-around good dude. So, Jesse, hopefully you're listening to this. We should get a beer or something.
Oh, if you'd love him in person too. He that's the other thing that's funny. I'm the voice on the show. In real life, Jesse commands the room. He is Chris
Interesting.
Farley. Oh, and he's the biggest guy in the room. He's 6'5". He's
Sure.
a big dude.
Yeah,
Commands the whole room, though. He is the funniest, most outgoing dude you'll ever meet in your life.
that makes sense. I could see that. All right. Let's get to question of the day between the three of us. All right, I'm gonna ask you guys a random question.
All right.
I'm gonna make this a bit of a Boston theme because Mike's originally from Massachusetts,
Okay.
the greatest state in America. What, Mike and Nick, what is your favorite Boston sports moment? And we're relatively the same age, so this will be good because we all kind of lived through the same stuff. Best Boston sports moment.
Who's going first here?
You want to go
Do you
first?
have
Mike?
one, Mike?
I'll go
be
first.
Yeah,
If you...
yeah, go ahead.
All right,
All
it's easy for me. It's easy.
04,
I mean, this is
04 for you?
no. It's funny. It's not that. That was
Okay.
important.
Me
that was
either. Yep.
very important. I was at a lot of the 03 games. It was very depressed for a while. And yeah, that was one of the greatest moments of my life. But what was bigger than that was a little snowy day in Foxborough. I was, I don't know, gosh, I was 22, maybe, I think at the time. There's a little tuck rule, little kick in the
The
snow.
Oakland game, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Okay. Two
It's
kicks
like-
in the snow.
if you have like a Spider-Verse, you know, the amount of universes that branched off of that game, you know, like with Brady and like the winning and everything, that moment in time, there was like something going on in the universe. And that was just glorious, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same season, that Super Bowl. That was the first
was it.
championship of my lifetime that I remember.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Pats had never won. The Sox hadn't won in my lifetime.
Mhm.
The
Yeah. The Celtics won in
Celtics-
86. I was like
Yeah, I was-
6 for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was born then, and the Bruins hadn't won since late '70s, I think. First championship, and I love football at the time.
And you were old
Brady-
enough to actually get it and celebrate and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because that was 2001. I was 15. I
Mhm.
was at my buddy Matt's house. The kick, we're jumping like maniacs.
Oh, yeah.
that was
awesome.
and it
Snow
was, like, the
Angels.
most- Yeah, Snow Angels on the turf, and it was the most unlikely. The biggest Super Bowl underdog, and they hit 14 points. The greatest show on turf, and they just came out and just started hammering them. Like,
What did that D lineman say
awesome.
to Brady? He's like, you have me to thank for your whole life and like all your money, like the tuck rule thing. Whoever was on the other side of the tuck rule, I forget his name.
Really?
But yeah, he came out and said something like, you could thank me for
Oh,
Giselle.
I remember
You could
Charles
thank me
Woodson
for...
used to say that.
Yeah,
Woodson
maybe that was,
used to
Maybe,
give him a hard
was it
time.
maybe it was
Woodson?
Woodson.
Yeah, because
I
Woodson
think
went
it might have
and,
been.
and they went to Michigan together.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Super Bowl to me was the great. The 04 thing was unbelievable.
Yeah.
No question. But the 04 thing, it was against the Yankees. Against the
Yeah.
Cardinals, it was like, oh, we're just
Let
checking.
down. Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
they're not touching us.
Yeah.
But when Damon comes up and smacks the grand slam in the third, fourth inning, I was like,
Woo!
this is happening. Like
Yeah, this
This is happening.
those
yeah.
were my two.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Larry?
Me and Nick do this all the frickin' time. Mine is the snowball game.
Now he worked
But I
for the
have a
Pats
story.
for like
But I
20
have
years.
a story. Yeah, let me tell it. Let me tell
Please.
it. I worked for the Patriots growing up. I grew up in Foxborough. So I worked for the Patriots and I worked in their retail store. And their store was actually like outside the stadium. And I was working that game. Weather was terrible, snow everywhere. And we in the store could like feel that the Patriots were going to win this game. We could just like feel it. Just like, you know, we all were. We were thinking of it. We were feeling it. And when we won, the place just erupted. And I ran outside the store as fans were leaving. And like random people are like giving each other hugs. Like people are like giving me hugs. And like, it was just incredible. And then I come back into the store and, you know, we're closing up. And who walks in? Ty Law and his entire like entourage. And he's in like a full like gray mink coat with a mink hat. And he comes strutting in and he's like throwing money around. He's like hugging people. It was incredible. And you know, that led up to the Super Bowl, which you bring up, Mike. But yeah,
You get a jersey.
I had to-
You get a jersey.
yeah.
That's great.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah, that whole season to me was just like unbelievable. And then, you know, even like another one that year, like the Bledsoe Pittsburgh game,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, I was so happy because Drew is as good a quarterback as you can be, who will never get in the Hall. Like realistically,
Mhm.
unbelievable. And like he had his moment. Like he was a
Yeah.
part of that. Like they don't make the Super Bowl without.
I
him.
have
No.
a buddy whose car broke down at Drew Bledsoe's house. He's not even a football guy. He went up, rang the doorbell. Drew Bledsoe actually helped him like organize the oil change and everything. It was crazy.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Wow.
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah,
He was like a
always
really
is.
good dude.
and super successful like entrepreneur. And the wine thing is
Oh,
He's
yeah.
making more doing
Oh,
wine than
yeah.
he did in football.
Of course he
So-
is. He's crushing. He
Mhm.
seems really happy too. That's
Yeah,
great.
He was good on the roast. He actually had a good personality. Yeah, I've always liked Drew.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
he's a
right.
good guy.
I think we should land the plane. Mike, where can people find you? There's a million places, but where can they find your breaks? Where can they listen to your show? Where can they follow you on Instagram if they want to see family pics and card pics and stuff like that?
Sports Cards Nonsense is a social pretty much everywhere. We
Mhm.
break exclusively on Fanatics Live under the same name. Podcast, same name, Sports Cards Nonsense. So, yep, everywhere.
Don't want to
All
push your
right.
IG. It's all right.
Oh, I think it's Mike Gio or Mike Gioseffi. I don't know which.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to
It's like
put it on the
300
screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please. There's like 300
it on there
followers
for you.
there. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Mike. Thank you. I feel
Well,
very
hang on a
educated.
second. Now I have
Oh.
to ask my questions now.
All
Okay.
right, you got some questions.
Where-
Let's do it.
I
do it.
do. I'm very curious. So first of all, LZ, what is your hobby? Like, what's your hobby history? What got you in? What got you going? Always been?
The most vivid story I have from growing up was, I want to say it was probably like fourth grade, and it was during recess. It must have been like a rainy day because we were inside and we were trading cards in class. And I don't know what I traded, but some kid gave me like a 1960 like 8 Ernie Banks card, and I was just like, holy crap, like this is amazing. And that's always been kind of my vivid memory of like the coolest like random trade that I did when I was younger. It's typical story, since then. Like I traded, I collected baseball and mostly basketball back in the day, gave up on it, came back during COVID, and then just got hooked on autographs. Nick and I got
Really?
like hooked, both of us. We were
cards
we-
or memorabilia?
on
Like pictures?
cards.
Cards.
On
okay.
cards.
Yeah.
We during COVID, we were TTMing like as much as we possibly could. Like I would say
Nice.
I was probably sending out 15 cards a day, like random cards.
Sheesh.
Then
To
I came up with a
celebrities.
genius idea to get the whole 86 Fleer set signed, and I pulled it off. And
Really?
oh yeah,
How much of
Yeah.
that was through the mail?
half
Oh,
for free.
half.
Dang.
Half.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
obviously you're not going to get Isaiah Thomas through the mail and Bird through the
Sure.
mail, but like we've had some of the players on our show, like Adrian Dantley and others. It's crazy.
What's the biggest return you've gotten through the mail? Biggest name, or one of the biggest names?
Biggest return?
Artemi Panarin was kind of a superstar that never, the hockey
Hmm.
player, he on the Rangers, he never signs, and I got him really luckily. But that's not the biggest return.
No,
Like, the
I
biggest
think it's
return
Steve,
is
I
like
think it's Steve Johnson.
Yeah, Steve
I think
Johnson.
it's
That's-
Steve Johnson, 1986 Flair.
$5,000 card. So,
Yeah.
Mike, I don't know if you know this.
I don't even know who
Johnson-
Steve Johnson is.
So
This is
here's
a
the
cool
funny
story.
So his card in 19, can you imagine how pissed off you would be? In 1986 Fleer, it's a Steve Johnson card. It's not his picture on it. It's Dave Greenwood's picture.
Oh,
They screwed up.
They Jackson Merrilled him.
He's
Yeah.
pissed about it. He never signs it, but I paid the piper and we got it signed.
Yeah.
So
Really?
it's like a pop of 8 or something
Yep.
like that.
I've only done it one time through the mail. I got the koozie right there. The koozie.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Nice.
Got like 3 years ago. I said because that was my nickname playing ball in middle school. Koozie legs, little dude who ran around like a spaz. I bought a graded rookie, cracked it, sent it to him with a letter. Had to donate $100 to the Boys and Girls Club. I was like, "Hey, could you inscribe it Koozie legs?" He did. Signed it, and then I sent it back to PSA. Got a full grade bump too. But
You
yeah,
can-
only time I ever got that through the mail.
What a great
we,
description.
we can all thank Nick for him no longer doing that anymore.
Killed
Oh
him?
yeah, that's a funny story.
Did you kill him?
Do I even want to tell this story?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I
man.
don't. No, we're gonna leave it at that. You gotta leave it at that.
Yeah, Mike,
No,
we'll tell you
don't wanna
offline.
Yeah, we'll tell you
You're
offline.
torturing this 90-year-old.
No,
We'll-
it's not like that. It's not like
we'll
that.
tell you
So,
offline.
I just
It
pictured
involves
Nick's
me
over
and a
there-
promoter at a card show saying the wrong
Yeah,
thing.
did-
That's
didn't
all. I'm
go
gonna
Nick's
say.
well.
over there badgering. He's like, "Listen, I know
Yeah.
you're 90. What do you think about the CT scan? It's a bigger story than you think."
You
He's
think
like,
you
"I
can
just
sign
got it."
500 cards for me?
Yeah. He's like, "I just got my body CT scan. No, the mercury boxes.
No,
I
no,
can't stand."
mercury.
Oh, we're not. Don't bring up That's a
You're
dirty word.
screaming at this poor kid. Oh,
Yeah.
All right. Question for you, Nick, real quick. I know you guys got to go. Biggest issue you have in the hobby right now? Do you think has lasting effects? Like Mercury, I think was kind of a blip on the screen issue, but whatever. I am curious. Aside from the CT, I've heard that. Like anything else you see, and you're like, "Hey, this is really going to be detrimental long."
I don't like how it's heading all towards like 90% gambling, and like set collectors like me are at the bottom supporting this gambling, almost like a drunk uncle. We're gambling on MVP buybacks. We're gambling on breaks. We're gambling on the cards within the breaks. We're gambling
Who's
on
gambling
stuff.
on MVP buybacks? Hang on.
No, but that's a gamble. So you are literally like, you are taking a card and hoping that they win MVP, right? And like you get money for that. That is a
But
gamble.
this is a sweepstakes. That card is worth
All right,
pennies.
fine. A sweepstake. I don't like. All right.
What's
so
the
then let's-
downside?
What's the downside? It's
Of
just
that
it's all
one?
it's very transactional and it's about money. It's like your
Okay.
card's worth money.
Okay.
Where you behind you for people on audio, you have like 17 things. Behind me, I've got an 86 Fleer box, a pack, stuff like that. We collect stuff. That's cool.
Sure.
I think as long as you also collect, go ahead, gamble your ass off. Like that's awesome. It's where it's just gambling for gambling's sake. That's what bothers me a little
fair.
bit. But
Okay.
it's also entertaining and where society's going anyway. So I just feel like an old man yelling at the clouds anyway. And who knows? I'll probably end up breaking and yelling at the clouds while I, gamble. So I don't know.
We had Kayla Collects on a while ago. It was like before the national, and she gave a good piece of advice that has stuck with me. And Nick just said it. I think everybody should have some PC. Every single
something.
person should have something.
As long as you
Totally
do
agree.
that, I'm good. Like if you collect,
Yeah.
it could be whatever, the shortstop on the crappiest team. As long as you
Sure.
have one card that you collect, do whatever you want. It's,
Mhm.
it's
I
if
like
people
that.
are not collecting and it's just money, that bothers me.
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
What else,
Now,
Mike? Anything else?
This was very PC. I didn't think I'd have to be the one bringing the heat here. I don't know. I thought we were coming full swing. Nikki
Did
Bush
you?
swinging
All right.
X-rated.
Nah, we're too
By the way,
composed.
your take on this breaking thing, the girls breaking the horrible. One of the worst takes on social media. This is just going to take over.
Here we
the
go.
breaking
Here we
world.
go, Nick. He's bringing the
Terrible.
I
heat.
love it.
Here
I
we
love
go.
it.
No, granted, there are some perverts who are all about that. But by and large, dude, this is why you got to come hang out on a live room. Don't
Yeah.
buy anything. Don't. The amount of people with their kids though is so like because I hear that the gamblers. I would also say this: the guys you're talking about, like, hey, we're the money, the gamblers. We're just feeding the vice. Sure, some of those perverts are going over there, but those are the guys just doming cases of flawless with backyard. You come to a room that's breaking like 96 Bowman's best by the pack, and like guys are ripping. Literally, the amount of people in there with their kids or their wife, over 50% every stream we do.
Really?
Every single time.
Wow.
Yeah,
didn't
and
realize
that is one of the few aspects of breaking where I'm like, it goes untold a lot of times, but it's a family thing for a lot of people. So,
All right,
which is
Mike.
good.
Let me follow up to that. How can breaking get better? How can it become more entertaining? Like Nick and I were talking a couple weeks ago around how like it would be great if breaking could become like appointment viewing. Like, and I
Sure.
compared it to like the Jimmy Fallon show. Like every night at 11 p.m. or 11:30, I'm tuning in for the next hour. How can we get there? Like, what are your ideas?
Yeah, this is a weekly conversation for us, and it's a struggle because we have to be entertaining and put on a new show and be innovative. And the flip side of that is we have to hit revenue marks to make this thing worth it for everybody. So it's
Yeah.
very difficult. So like the first day, release day is the most boring time in terms of breaker performance. You'll get to see cards for the first time. The audience is built in because of that. But for me, that's a transactional day. We're getting through as much of this as possible because I have a $132,000 invoice due in 9 days. This is going. Here's our margins, whatever.
Wow.
After
Okay.
that is when you can get creative. So like style of break, everybody does PYT, like pick your team. Well, can you mix in old products? Can you add giveaways while you're doing the break? Can you incentivize people? Like we've done stupid things like trivia. The amount of people who get excited about dumb trivia stuff. How many players ever have had 3,000 hits and 500 home runs? Who's the last person to do it? You get a free pack. Little junk like that gets people going. And for me, the other stupid thing is the singing. The Glory Days comes on. Any of the hits. I'm not a deep track guy with Bruce, but the hits come on, we're pausing the break. For the last 2 weeks, there's no reasonable thought for this. When a Sheryl Crow song comes on My Pandora, we rip as quickly as possible. There's no joke. We rip as fast as possible because Sheryl Crow has been the heat maker right now. For whatever reason, if It Makes You Happy came on the other day and we pulled a crazy nice card. All of a sudden, we're like, God, that's it. Sheryl Crow's on, dude. Just unwrap the next 3 boxes at a time.
This
Don't
is
go
just
one
like
at
a casino, man. It's
that part, and that part
that's
is,
it.
and that part certainly is, right?
Yeah.
But it's so much of like just trying to mix up the vibe, be stupid, different stuff. We do a lot of movie talk. We did the other day most 5 overrated Boston movies of all time. The whole chat blew up for no reason.
Good Will Hunting better not be in there.
Good Will Hunting is one of the most poorly aged movies. You go back and watch that now, you're like, wait a minute. He's the toughest guy in the room, the best looking and the smartest. Like, this is nonsense. And he's like an orphan who got beat all the time. Meh.
Hmm.
You know, The Departed. I'm like, we broke out of The Departed.
Departed.
Why is Martin Sheen on the roof by himself? Just call him back up. Also, if you're going to kill him, just kill him. Why'd you wait to
Oh,
find him?
man.
Like it was a secret. Terrible movie. One of the worst Boston movies of all time.
I need to go back for a second here. You use Pandora?
Yeah, no,
Pandora?
that got me too.
That's
Dude, I
still
still-
a thing? That's
Dude,
still a thing?
I will
Like,
rock Pandora.
what?
I'll get this thing.
Is
thing
it-
canceled
LZ,
right now.
I still have a reggae station on Pandora that is completely optimized where it is
So
actually
you still use Pandora as
I
well?
only
You
use
gotta-
it for my reggae station in the summer. Okay, that's it.
Wow.
I mean, look at this. Pandora, open it up. The outfield.
I actually
Your love? Come on, that's just dominating. Wait for it to come.
LZ's surprised it even exists still.
Yeah,
Come
I
on
am.
now.
I am.
No,
I am.
my
Oh, this is too good. We
little
covered
bit older.
X-rated brakes and how braking works and all good. Man.
Bring Pandora back to brakes. That's my pitch.
There
I
we
like
go.
this.
Bring it
Pandora
back.
breaks.
Wow, this is
Mhm.
like breaking 101 this episode. I like it. All
I
right.
guess.
What do you say we end this thing? Mike, thank you. It was
Yeah,
awesome
appreciate
having
the
you
time,
on.
guys. I had fun.
Yeah,
uh,
thanks, Mike.
I think the
Good
audience
having
will
you, man.
appreciate your story. It's a good entrepreneurship story, and also you get into cards a lot more than we typically do, especially the modern stuff. So I find that helpful. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye, everybody.